In this video, I'm going to show you why you have to use TanStack DB on your applications. I'm going to try to use the TanStack DB on the Next.js application, and this is basically the final project that we are going to create. So let's just try to show you right here. I'm going to add a new task on the backend API, right? So let me try to click that, and as you can see, it's just 0 second. The task will automatically render on the list right here, right? Just automatically, super fast. So what happened is, let me show you right here. If you're using TanStack DB, what happened after you click the add task button is basically will running the task collections.insert. And then after that, the task appears instantly in UI. So automatically the task will show on the UI. So we don't have to wait until the data store on the database. We don't have to. Let me try to go back in here, and I'm going to try to show or simulate if something wrong happened when we try to save data into the database. For example, if something wrong happened when the Drizzle tried to save the data into database, right? Because we already update the UI, right? So what happened if the server confirmed, hey, the data is not stored on the database? So basically, automatically, the TanStack DB will remove the new data on the UI. That's pretty amazing. Let me show you here. So I'm going to put this new task add JWT refresh token. Then as you can see, if I click add task, it just really fast. The task is automatically show on the list, but after the error happened on the database, it's basically just remove that task automatically, as you can see here, right? Just really fast. So that's what we are going to learn in this video, and basically I'm going to put the final code on the description. Let's get started. All right, so let's try to generate the brand new Next.js application. My prompt is create a Next.js app with app router called TaskFlow with Tailwind CSS with setCN UI as well. Hit enter. As you can see, it's done. It's create the TaskFlow folder. Then as you can see in here, it's basically already set up the setCN UI as well. So now my prompt is cd to that project and open it in VS Code. Then now I'm going to try to create the UI first. This is my prompt to create the UI. Build the complete UI using hard-coded dummy data. Use this dummy data directly in the components. So first we have the project array that have an ID, name, and then the task count. Then also we have the task array that have an ID, titles, then completed, and then the project ID, right? Project ID, this basically based on the projects array. Then also create these file project list, right? This basically have a left sidebar fixed 280 pixel width. Then show each project name plus a task count batch and etc. Then we also have the task list, task item for the individual task list. Then also we have an add task form. This is basically form to add input, right? The input text, and then also have an add task button, then etc. As you can see in here, we have do not connect to any database or API yet. All state is local. Verify. You can select project, add task, complete task, delete task, all working with local state. So we just make sure all of this just works even we're not using any database. So I'm going to copy all of that. Then I'm going to paste that to my input on the open code, then hit enter. Then now everything should be done. Let me try to see that on the source app, then page.tsx. Right here, as you can see, it just rendered like a two component, project list and task list. Project list is basically like a sidebar, everything that you see on the left side. Task list is basically the content. So on the left side, we have 3 projects. For example, website redesign. If I click that, as you can see here, we have all active, then done. This is basically the list of the task. So let's try to add a new task in here just to make sure the add is working. Add sign up page. I'm gonna click add task, and as you can see, it's adding down here. Pretty cool. And also if I hover that, we have this delete button. Let me go to active here, this one right here, right? Let me try to click that to done. Then as you can see, it's go to the done tab. If I delete that, it should be gone right now. Yeah, it works. Everything is just works. Cool. Now what we have to do is we're going to create the database. We are going to get the URL PostgreSQL from the Neon basically. Then what you have to do if you not yet install the Neon CLI, you have to just follow these docs in here. Like just copy this npm install globally neon ctl and just follow along basically. If I typing slash then mcp to my open code, then as you can see right now we have Neon connected. Now it's pretty simple to create a project. For example, as you can see here, I just have like a Fixura project in here. If I want to add a new project, it's pretty simple. What I have to do is just copy this prompt basically, right? Like I create a new project called a TaskFlow and get the connection string, then save it to the environment variable as a database URL. Just does it. Let me try. Here, I'm going to paste that prompt, then hit enter. As you can see in here, if I go back to Neon console, if I refresh, now we should see the new project, basically, TaskFlow, right? If I go back in here, now we also have the environment local, then this is my URL, PostgreSQL. How cool is that? And even the password, everything is just set up in here. Now let's take a look on the tables here, and hopefully this is empty because we're not adding anything right now. The next prompt what I'm going to running is this one in here. Create Drizzle config, connect to the database URL from environment variables, then create the schema that have two tables, projects and then task. So create db/index.ts and export the Drizzle client using Neon HTTP, create a db/seed.ts and insert the same dummy data from the UI. So the verify is open DB Studio and confirm table and data is accessed. So let me try to copy everything in here. Then I'm going to running that on my open code. So anyway, my prompt is not specify what package should install, but as you can see, the AI already know it should be installed the Drizzle ORM, Drizzle Kit, and Neon Database Serverless and TSX as well. Alright, this is done. So let's take a look on the Neon table, and hopefully now we see the data in here. I'm going to refresh. As you can see here, we have the projects, and then also we have the task in here. What we have to do next is basically we need to add integrations. So our UI should be get the data from the database, right? Because this is now just a dummy data. So my prompt is pretty simple. Create API route for project and task, get, post, patch, and delete. Also replace all the dummy data and local state in the UI with real fetch call to those API route, and add loading state for every actions like adding, completing, and deleting a task. After every mutations, add, complete, delete, refetch the task to keep the UI in sync, right? Just does it. I'm gonna copy it, then paste that to my open code, then hit enter. All right, this is done. So let's take a look what we get. As you can see in here, this is the API route. So you can access that on source, then app, then API. As you can see here, you have to folder, project, then task. Then this is the data flow. As you can see, if I click add task, it's basically make a post request on the API/task. And then after the post is done, it's basically will refetch the task to show the latest updated. So let's try to add a new task in here, redesign the homepage hero section. If I click add task, and as you can see, we have this loading, then we get this task list in here. If I go back to the Neon database, go to table. Now, as you can see, we have this redesign the home page, right? Then the completed is false. So let me go back in here. For example, I'm going to try to complete that. As you can see, we get this loading inside the checkbox. That's pretty cool. Let me try to see, and I'm going to refresh that. Now, hopefully now this is true, right? It's a work. Everything just works. If I delete that, it also works, I believe. Like I have loading, then it's gone. So anyway, I just realized the badge on the project list in here is just gone, right? I cannot see that again right now. The problem is the task count badge on the project list sidebar is missing. Bring it back. Each project should show a small badge with the number of tasks it has. All right, this is done. So let's take a look what happened. It's basically we're adding this span, right, with project.task count inside that. So if I go back in here, we should see this value in here, this batch. First, we have this 3 value, 2, then 1. Before we install the TanStack DB, I like to just commit everything in here. Just commit this. So next, what we have to do is we need to install the TanStack DB. As you can see, because we're using Next.js, and Next.js is basically a React framework. So we have to install this TanStack/React-DB. And also, we need to install this package in here, TanStack/query DB collections. So my prompt is this one right here. Install TanStack React DB, then TanStack query DB collections, wrap the app in query client provider in layout.tsx, then create a collections folder with 2 files inside that. project collections and task collections. So project collection is basically will fetch from the API/project, and task collection is a fetch from API/task with on insert, on update, on delete that call the matching API route. So I'm going to copy all of that, then go back to my open code, then paste that right here. All right, this is done. So let's take a look what happened to our code right now. So I'm going to open first the query client.ts file. And as you can see, this basically just export query client, then running the new query client. Then also we have the collection folder right now, right? Inside that we have two file project collections and task collections. So let me just take a look on project collections. It's basically just running this export, right? Just export these variables, then running the create collections. Then inside that it's also running the query collections options. Then we have the query key is whatever you want. You can just put any word in here. Query function. This is basically for the get all project, I believe. Then get key is basically for project ID. Then query client is come from the query client on the lib folder. That's it. Let me try to open the task collections. And this is basically same, right? Export task collection, running create collection. Inside that we have a query collection option. Same like this. Also put the query key, query function, then get key, right? This is the task ID, because on the task we can add data, we can toggle data, we can remove data. So that's why in here we have this on insert. This is for the new data, make a post request basically. Then also we have on update. This is for patch, for update the data. Then also we have the delete, right? This is for method delete. So now what we have to do is we need to integrate UI with the TanStack DB right now. Then my prompt is, let me go back here. I want to replace all of fetch call and use effect in the UI with use live query from the collection we created, and replace all mutation fetch call with collection method. Add tags using task collection.insert, complete tags using task collection.update, delete tags using task collection.delete. And also remove all loading state because mutation are instant right now. Add a small pulsing amber dot on each task that show while sync is false, disappears when confirmed by server. And this is the verify, add complete delete all field instant with no spinner. The count batch update live when task change. Let me try to copy everything here, then paste that to my open code, then hit enter. All right, so this is done. But before we see the live version, I just like to explain what happened without the TanStack DB, right? So for example, if I click that add task in here after I typing a new task, what happened is it's basically make a post request, right, into the API/task. And then on the post request, of course, we have the Drizzle to insert data to the Neon DB. And then after that, the server will return the new task. And then after that, we have to make a get request again to get the data. So that's why in here we get the API/task to refetch all the data. And then after that, the Drizzle read from Neon DB, right, again, then return all the tasks, and then UI will re-renders, then task will appears on the browser. That's without the TanStack DB. But now we're using the TanStack DB. So what happened right now? So let's take a look what happened if we're using the TanStack DB. Now the flow is more simple. Let me take a look here. If we click the add task button, right, the task collection.insert is running. And then after that, we don't have to wait until the data is stored on the database, but it instantly, right, the task is instantly appear on the UI. That's crazy. So let me show you right here. If I do task, for example, then I'm going to make it bigger so you can see. If I click add task, as you can see, like a 0 second just right here. The task is 0 second just right here, like super fast. So we don't have to wait until the data store on the database. So what happened is I'm just adding this amber dot to indicate it, right? This is basically waiting for server. And then on the background, what happened is it's make a post request to the API/task. And then the Drizzle will insert the data to the Neon DB, and then server confirm, right? Okay, the data is right here on the database, and then the amber dot is disappear. So let me show you in here the amber dot. Let me do task 2, for example. If I click add task, as you can see, oh my bad, you cannot see that, right? Let me put my face right here. Then I'm going to do task 4, for example. If I click that, as you can see here, right, that the amber dot, and after a couple of seconds, it just gone basically. So maybe you have question like, how about if the database failed to save the data, right? So what happened is this basically will automatically remove the new data from the UI. So if something wrong happened from the server, like the data is not saved into the database, so basically the new tags will disappear automatically. So anyway, there's something that we missed right now, which is the batch value number on the top right here. As you can see now, it's 2. If I add, for example, a task, if I click add task, as you can see now the list is have 3 tasks, but the problem is the batch value is still 2. Let me try to see the code in here. It's happened because the data project in here still get the data from the database. So the problem is simple. The project task count batch in project list is not updating when tasks are added or deleted. Fix it by using useLive query with group by and count on task collection, group by project ID. Make sure count is imported from TanStack DB and the collections instance in the same one used in task list. Now I want to copy it and paste it here, then hit enter. All right, so let's take a look what happened here. So anyway, the project is still get from the project collections, but the task count is grabbed up from the task collections. Really nice. And then here, as you can see, it's combined that 2 array, right? 2 project with count. So the task count in here is come from the task collections basically. Great. And then now, as you can see, what render in here, and of course, it's come from the task collections right here. So now let's try to see, hopefully this is work. Let me go back in here, and if I delete that, now as you can see, it just immediately changed that, right? It works pretty good. Before I simulate the error, so I'm going to try to add the toast notification first. So this is my prompt. I'm going to show you right here. Add toast notification to the app using Sooner. Install Sooner and the toaster component in layout.tsx. Paste that right here, then hit enter. So anyway, let's just try. Here I'm going to go back. Then if I go to backend API, then I'm going to do tasks, whatever. So let me try to click add task, and then here we go. As you can see, we have the toast notification down here. Pretty nice. If I try to delete that, then hopefully we also see the task notification. Pretty good. So now I'm going to simulate what happened if something wrong happened when try to save data to the database. So this basically simulate DB error. So let's try. Here I'm going to go back, then I'm going to add new task, right? So I'm going to try to click add task. Then as you can see, super fast, right? The task will show right here, but after a couple seconds, the text is just gone. As you can see here, if I click that again, right? That really fast. So now let's try to comment that. Then let me try to click that again. Then as you can see, right, it works. Really nice. So definitely you have to try the TanStack DB. This is super cool package, I believe, to make your application super fast. So thank you so much for watching, guys. See you on another video.